Good morning or good afternoon, everyone, wherever you are in the world. I hope you can all hear me, and I hope we've already started. It's a little bit noisy in here. I do apologise because I have some people that are in the office. We have a great setup here with Project Recce and Frontier Risks, along with John Davis, Peter Lawrence and Duncan Godfrey, and my good friend Simon Donnelly, who will be chairing the Frontier Risks panel chat. So thank you very much for everybody for being here. And I'm going to hand over straight away to John Davies. John, welcome.
Thanks a lot for the introduction, Jimmy, and thanks a lot for inviting me along to this webinar. So if it's okay with everyone, I'm going to talk to you about the charity that I work for. So without further ado, I'll pop the slides up on the screen and we'll get cracking on. So just get a thumbs up from you, Jimmy, to say that you can see that. Oh, good, brilliant. Okay, so yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name's John Davis, and I'm a Chief Operational Officer for a charity called Project Recce. Project Recce is a charity that's based in the northwest of England in Stockport, but we're a national charity that reaches out across the UK. And we were set up to help resettle service leavers and veterans from the military into roles in the construction industry. We were set up because we identified that there was a need back in 2018 for a pathway into the industry, because it was identified that it was quite a similar industry to the military, lots of working outside, lots of a very similar environment, working in austere locations, task driven. So we wanted to create this pathway that directed people who were leaving the military, and it's around 15,000 a year, towards careers in the construction industry. We do bleed slightly left and right with construction into science, technology, engineering, manufacturing type sectors as well, but our expertise definitely lies in the construction industry. So the story of the creation of Project Recce, I'll talk a little bit about. And those are the areas that I'm gonna cover in this presentation. So who we are, what we do, why you should get involved, and how you can get involved. So we were formed in 2018, and we were formed by two individuals, one being a construction expert, if you like. Neil Houlihan is the CEO, the current CEO of the charity. His background is as a building surveyor before moving off into the world of actual constructing of houses. He builds bespoke projects now. So he was one of the founders, and the other founder was a guy called Lawrence Moore. Lawrence was an infantry officer. He served in the Cheshire and Mercian Regiment, and was on a trajectory in his career to do really well. He served 2 operational tours of Afghanistan, and after the second tour, his career halted slightly as he started to struggle with a couple of issues. It resulted in being medically discharged from the military with PTSD, and he found himself back in his hometown of Stockport, struggling to resettle and to find a career that he would fit into using the skills that he picked up in the military. Now, you might think that that's a pretty straightforward job for someone who's such a high flyer doing so well in their career, but he struggled to find out where his skills might fit in and where they would be best utilised by the labour market, coupled with a couple of issues that cropped up, as sometimes can in transition. And that made for quite a precarious situation for him to be in. Neil, as someone working in the industry, reached out to Loz and said, "Come and we'll have a chat. We'll have a coffee. We'll go to the gym. We'll go for a run and see if we can solve some of these problems for you." It resulted in Neil inviting Loz onto the site to start managing a couple of the projects that he was working on. One was a bespoke house build looking out over Manchester, and he quickly realised that Loz had a unique set of skills and was very driven and ambitious, and could apply all of these transferable skills that he picked up in the military in this house build project. He went on to become that project manager, and then together the two created, first of all, an informal pathway, if you like, where they mentored individuals into the construction industry. And then it morphed and changed into what's become a charity today, and our Pathways into Construction program that we deliver every 2 weeks. You just see a quote on the screen there from Johnny Mercer, who's the Minister for Veterans Affairs, who we meet with quite regularly. We're going to see him on Friday, actually. And he identified quite rightly that having a job is the single biggest factor that improves the life chances of a veteran once they leave service, because all the things tend to fall into place when you've got your career sorted out. And if you are in a career where you feel valued, you are given structured training, you are given career development, then usually all the other things fall into place, the housing and any other issues that might crop up. What we've found, and I'll glance over these areas, is that there is a need. There's a need at both ends of the scale. So there's a need for those people leaving the military, those 15,000 people leaving the military from all 4 branches, if you include the Royal Marines, the Army, the Royal Navy, and the Royal Air Force. Those 15,000 people that are leaving annually struggle to find where they will resettle in the labour market. They struggle to understand where their skills that they've picked up, and it's a vast amount of skills and experience, regardless of how long they've served, or what rank they achieved, or what cap badge or branch they're serving in. It's a vast amount of experience and skills. They struggle to find where they fit in. And likewise, the industry, if we look at the construction industry specifically, has yet to fully understand how to make best use of these individuals, this pool of talent that are being introduced to the labour market every year. And that's where the charity fits in. We aim to bridge that gap, to help those individuals find good employers, and likewise for the employers to find these individuals. We are targeted to the construction sector, and that's purely because on the one hand, Neil, the CEO, his expertise lies in construction, his network is in construction, and that's where we can have the best effect. As I said, we do sort of bleed left and right into those other industry or sectors, areas like science, technology, engineering, manufacturing, but predominantly we focus on construction. And then me, as the current Chief Operational Officer, I tend to cover the military side to understand who these individuals are and where they may fit into Neil's directive network. So he tends to pop them into areas based on my assessment of who they are and where they might fit in. My background is military. I served in a military for 12 years in regular service. I left in 2012, but I've remained in the Army Reserves and still serve in the Army Reserves as a learning development officer in the education and training services. So I still have quite a foot in the world of the military, and remain quite current and competent with that. So that helps quite a lot with us understanding our audience in terms of the military veterans and service leavers, and likewise understanding the employers that are in need of these individuals through Neil's understanding of the industry. We are a community. So I'm going to talk in a minute about the course that we deliver, but predominantly we're a community. We are the Project Recce community. Everyone that works with the charity remains in our community, remains in the fold, and can always access any service we offer in perpetuity. So there's no cap to the offer that we make to individuals. They can always reach back and come back to the charity as and when they need to. And it is through that community that we find we can have best effect, that people can network with each other and act as force multipliers, if you like, that they can use other people's networks, for instance. And it works quite well. We have industry-wide reach, and we do that through strategic partnerships. We are very privileged to be a strategic partner of Balfour Beatty, of Sunbelt Rentals. We are hopefully very soon going to become strategic partners of Milestone Infrastructure, of John Sisk and Son, and at one or two of the smaller tier 2 to tier 3 companies. We've got a couple of construction companies that we work alongside, one or two highways companies that we work alongside that are slightly lower down in the supply chain, but still understand and get the benefits of recruiting people from the military talent pool. We're a charity that is delivered by veterans. So as well as myself, our chair of trustees is a retired Grenadier Guard. He retired as a major. One of our trustees is an ex-REME major. Our ambassador network is full of people working in the industry who have also served in the military. There's lots of civilians in there as well, but people like, for instance, Jimmy, who serves as an ambassador with the charity, who served in the military, and lots of individuals who you can see on our website who act as ambassadors for the charity. So we've got a wide reach across the industry, and it means that we can usually put someone in contact with an individual out there that's got some influence and maybe got some decision-making power, and can actually take them under the wing and show them the ropes and maybe give them a bit of coaching and mentoring. Everyone we work with is willing and ready to get into the industry. If anyone does have any issues that crop up in transition, as they will with any of the workforce, if it is anything to do with alcohol or substance misuse or housing or mental health or anything like that, then we will pass them back through a collaborative partner, one of the other charities that can focus on that area and help them with those issues before they then rotate back to us and into the industry through our program. So anyone that leaves the Pathways into Construction program is work ready and available for employment in the very near future, if not immediately. Rather than reading that out, I will just go on to speak about our Pathways into Construction program. But first, I should probably mention who everyone is. I've already identified Neil in the middle there as the CEO, and we've got a chief financial officer on the right-hand side, who deals with all of the financial affairs with the charity. And then that's me on the left-hand side as the third member of the senior leadership team. Above us, we have a board of trustees. So we are governed by a board of trustees that's chaired by Bernie, who's the retired Grenadier Guards Major, formerly captain of the Invictus Games GB team. And to his left and right, he's got a number of trustees, including Major Rob Shenton, who's also a retired Army Major, and one or two other trustees there that keep us and hold us to account and make sure that we are doing exactly as we need to be doing as a charity, and we are steered in the correct direction. One area that helps us with that is our ambassador network. We've got 55, I think we've got 56 ambassadors at the moment that help in directing strategically the charity to where we can best have effect. They also act as our eyes and ears on the ground, and they are also available for mentoring and coaching of individuals who leave the Pathways into Construction program. That ambassador network is made up of people with influence within the industry, be they ex-forces or civilian, but people who can add something and add value to that network. We're always on the lookout for ambassadors, so you think you might be someone that could fit that criteria, someone that has got influence, decision-making power. You might want to offer some coaching and mentoring to one of our beneficiaries, then please do reach out, and our contact details will be popped up in the course of this presentation. So our core business is the delivery of the Pathways into Construction program. It's a 2-week online course, formerly face-to-face. We used to deliver it in the northwest of England, on site, usually at one of the major construction projects, over 2 weeks. But came the pandemic and we moved on to Microsoft Teams, where we've remained since, and overnight became a national charity because people were no longer traveling to attend the course. We were immediately reaching out to everyone wherever they were in the UK, and likewise for employers wherever they were in the UK. So we became national overnight, and we remained online with this course. It's a 2-week course that is free to attend for individuals as long as they meet the criteria, as long as they have served or are serving in the military, or they are serving in the be that reserve military as well, so Army Reserves, Navy Reserves, RAF Reserves, or the Royal Marine Reserve, and if they are a Cadet Force adult volunteer, or if they're a spouse or immediate family member of someone who is serving or has served. As long as a person meets that criteria, they can come and attend this course for free. We ask for a small donation just to cover to make sure that the seat is held for them, just to ensure that people do attend when they book their place. But other than that, the places are funded by donation from industry. And you can see a smiling face there of Charlie Baig, one of our beneficiaries. He left the Royal Engineers as a Lance Corporal, with some experience in construction, but very limited experience really when it came to civilian construction. But he was lucky enough to secure a job with Wilmot Dixon as an assistant build manager, and he's happy and thriving now and has been with that company now for a couple of years actually. We invited him back as an ambassador, and he now speaks quite frequently on the programme just to let individuals know about the pathway and some of the hints and tips that he did as he moved into the civilian construction sector. The aim of the course is really to get them ready for to transition out of the military into the construction industry, into the civilian construction industry, to rather than reskill them, to shine a light and to showcase the skills they've already got, to find where they will fit in, rather than trying to offer them trades or anything like that. We do get them a CSCS card and a health and safety qualification, but really that is just to overcome a barrier to make sure that they can get onto a site by the end of the programme. The remainder of the course is really just looking at introspectively at who they are, and then looking outwards to the industry to understand where they will fit into it. So week 1, which is resilience to civilian street or civilian life, is focused on things like identifying those core military values and standards and how they then fit in a civilian world, understanding a bit of self-leadership and motivation, some problem solving and decision making, all part of an emotional intelligence package to help them best understand themselves and where their strengths and weaknesses lie, and where they can best focus their energies. We talk about things like mental health and mental resilience because they are in a period of transition, whether that is leaving the military or leaving one area, one sector that they're already in, to move into another. So there's bound to be a little bit of pressure there. So we always talk about mental health and offer some advice and guidance on mental resilience as well. We talk about fitness and nutrition, and to maintain those standards that they've met in the military. A high standard of fitness and nutrition in the military, and to carry that forward is always a good idea. So we always throw some sessions in about that. Also, that we will be joined by veterans throughout the week who will join the calls and just talk about their own story. Some are just success stories of moving off into the construction industry and doing really well on high trajectories. Others are just interesting stories about mental resilience or struggle when someone has left the military, and it's all to give these individuals confidence and to raise their awareness about the construction industry as a whole. Week 2 is where we look outwards. We invite employers in to have an employer briefing day, usually they'll be from UK construction or STEM type companies, back-to-back briefings on who they are. So it may be that Balfour Beatty or Sunbelt or Lorne Stewart or John Sisk or Waite or Costain will join us for a half-hour session to 45 minutes, where they'll talk about who they are, where they fit into the industry, and why they want to recruit ex-forces individuals. And it just gives our beneficiaries an idea of what the industry looks like, and that it's not all about trowels and laying brick and spreading plaster and drywall lining, that there are a vast amount of job roles out there to be fulfilled, and they are available and live now. We'll then help them with some construction CV writing, help them to translate their skills from what they did in the military into what might be appealing out in the industry, help them translate it into civilian speak. We will help them with LinkedIn, as we're all sure, no doubt that LinkedIn is such a good tool. We help them with navigating it and how to create a good profile, and some of the hints and tips around utilizing LinkedIn as a leverage tool. So, when to comment, how many posts to put out, that kind of thing. We give them a strategic communication session that's delivered by one of our experts, ex-military guy who's now working for M&C Saatchi in the influence world. He comes on and talks about strategic communication. We'll have mock interview sessions where employers will join us again, and we'll do a bit of a speed dating session for an hour and a half, where the beneficiaries will get to speak to 4 or 5 employers in a live scenario, real life situation, so they can try out their interview skills. We will get them a health and safety and construction qualification and a CSCS card, again, just to remove that barrier, so they can get straight onto a site at the end of the course. And we will deliver some live on-site sessions where we'll have one of the key job roles join us from site usually and talk about their day-to-day activities. So whether or not they are a project manager, site manager or supervisor, a health and safety advisor or SHEC manager, whatever that might be. We'll get 4 or 5 individuals to join us and talk us through their day-to-day rhythm of life and what their job entails. And then by the end of it, we'll deliver a whole life and development and education session to let them know how to carry on that professional development, how to access some of the schemes that are available to service leavers and veterans, how to utilize them so that they can hit the ground running and still be continuing their professional development. At the end of it all, we will sit them down in an interview, find out where they are, what point they have reached, and what the next steps might be, and we will try and facilitate that next step, whether or not it is an interview, which would be the gold standard and often is the case, or it could be a site visit, or partnering them up with a mentor in industry, going to have a look at a project, and whatever that next step is, we will try to arrange for them. And then it's just a case of supporting them into employment. The vast majority of our individuals that we work with are work ready to go, well-polished individuals that just need some direction and need a bit of an education on the industry, really. We work with everyone from people who are leaving the military very early in their career as early service leavers, right through to some that have reached senior appointments, warrant officers and officers who still need the same level of support, who still struggle to find where their skills will fit into industry, whether or not that is the construction industry or left and right of that. And because we work with such well-polished individuals, our success rate is really high. We work off a 93% success rate because they tend to just need that direction to be pointed in the right on the right compass bearing, given the right connections, and they tend to do the rest. They tend to go off and succeed, and that's why we can publish that and enjoy that success rate. We also, in our activities, generate a lot of social value. You could probably multiply that figure by about 4 or 5 if we calculated it correctly. We're not experts in that. We're getting some support with that at the moment. But that £2.5 million worth of social value that we've created through companies employing individuals who could have been unemployed or are transitioning out, or who are veterans, that is one of the massive benefits of supporting a charity. It's the amount of social value we invest back into society and that companies can generate through working with the charity. So individuals tend to find us through various channels, whether or not it is word of mouth or on LinkedIn or somewhere like that, or from one of our referral partners. And we take referrals from all the major charities, all the big stakeholders within the veteran space. So whether or not it's the Poppy Factory, RBLI, directly from the MOD, from Cat Badge branch, from welfare officers who are serving in the military, from resettlement officers, from DWP in the case of some of our hardest to reach cohorts, from Walking with the Wounded. And they tend to be referred into one of our courses that are delivered every 6 weeks. They will book their own place on it, make their £10 donation. We'll deliver the 2-week course to them, as you've just seen, the content of which, and by the end of it, we'll try and find them an onward destination with one of our industry partners. There's some of our partners, there's some of the bigger names that we work with, and we enjoy strategic partners with a lot of those companies there. We're always looking to expand that network and to find those good companies, those pro forces, friendly companies that offer that structured training and career development and do value their individual employees. We're always looking for those. So again, if you are one of those companies, then do reach out to us and we can maybe have a chat about how you can partner up with a charity and start to reap the benefits and recruit from the veteran talent pool. Now, you will all be acutely aware across all sectors that there is a skills shortage in the labour market, that you are struggling to find good people to fill these roles that you are advertising on your websites. Often in some cases it's dozens or if not hundreds of roles that are available and live at the moment, and you struggle as an industry to find these individuals. People leaving the military are particularly suited to careers in health and safety throughout their career, right from day one, week one. They are imbibed with awareness of health and safety, and work throughout a career being hyper aware of safety, whether or not they're working on exercises, on firing ranges, or out there on operations. Actually, at the sharp end, they have to be hyper aware of health and safety at all points. So they are particularly suited to health and safety roles. And it's hard to find these people, that you will often market roles and struggle to find them. So that's often where we can direct people to companies, if not individual roles. There's some of the qualities there that you'll typically find from people leaving the military. And again, I emphasize that it's at every level. People leaving early have still shown the nous to leave their hometown, to go and join the military, to volunteer for something that's particularly arduous. Even if they're leaving early, they've done something that sets them apart from their counterparts often. And right through to those individuals that are serving at senior ranks, and everything in between. They're all quick to learn. They're all displaying leadership and management qualities, as they have to throughout their career, and actually will be given accredited qualifications to that effect, often up to level 6 or 7 in leadership and management. They're all health and safety aware and have to be, as I've already explained. Incredibly adaptable and resilient, often work in austere locations, ready and willing to do that. Always answer yes as the first point of when a question is asked, and then figure out how to do it afterwards. All effective communicators, again, as they have to be. They have to be able to get orders across, have to be able to understand orders, have to give it all to the nth degree to ensure that it is achieved to that military spec that we all often use as a bit of a throwaway comment. And I'll live by these military values and standards that are out there, this published set of guidelines to how to live your life and serve as a professional in one of the best armies in the world. Sorry, militaries in the world. So how can you get involved? So as individuals, we are always looking for people like ambassadors, individuals to support us, to come and speak on the courses, to talk about your industry, talk about your job role. As companies, we need you to support us. We need you to promote us. We need you to maybe fundraise for us, to maybe include us in some of your social media posts, generate social value through us, to recruit some of our individuals, to donate your time and energy, some of your resources towards helping this charity, maybe as part of a social value project, coming to see us at our headquarters in Stockport. You could give us some of your people, your colleagues, maybe give us some HR people to help us with some of our resource allocation and our administration. Maybe give us some of your social value individuals to help us calculate some of the social value that we generate. And in terms of broader support for the armed forces, if you haven't already, sign the Armed Forces Covenant as a company. It's very easy to do, and it's just a pledge to support people leaving the military. It's not a great amount of effort and resource that you need to allocate towards signing the covenant. It is just making a promise. But then you can start to work towards the employer recognition schemes that the MOD awards, those bronze, silver, gold awards, that will help you as companies, first of all, attract these individuals to your organizations, but also in things like way and work. That if you can demonstrate that you've got a gold award in the employer recognition scheme, that you are dedicated to supporting and recruiting people from the armed forces, that will no doubt help you with some of your bidding and winning of work. To join the Employment Rendezvous, the ERV, which is a digital platform that we've created as a charity, very similar to LinkedIn, but is ring-fenced purely for service leavers and veterans and those employers that want to recruit for them. And to give us sponsorship and fundraise for the charity. Everything we do costs money. It costs in the region of £3,600 to put a single individual through our course and then support them for 12 months. So everything costs a large amount of money, and we look to industries to support us through private donation. We're very lucky to be chosen charities of some of the big companies in the industry, but it certainly doesn't make us sustainable. And if the taps are turned off, then the charity no longer exists, and we cannot carry on doing what we do, which we think is a really good thing. So we are always in need of support from industry. So we'd make that pledge and make that plea to you as companies to employ us. To support us. I will fire past that, and I won't talk to you about the employment rendezvous at this point. We'll save that for another time. What I will do, though, is ask that does anyone have any questions about the charity, about what we do, and about me as an individual or anything?
I've got a few questions for you, John. Fantastic, mate. Thank you so much. You know that was going as hard as you can here. There's a cracking one. You've got cracking one or two that have come through. Some of them I've answered. But you know, Robert Andrews, just a quick one for you before John goes on. It really winds me up. In order for you to be earning 35 grand a year in the army, you must have been a platoon sergeant or a staff sergeant, and you are worth that and more. And you should really start looking at your resettlement 2 years out. And if you do the things that John is saying and start looking at your time 2 years out, you should be earning 50, 60 grand a year. Do not think about earning 25 grand a year, or I'll come looking for you. I don't care how big you are. All right, you are worth more than that. And that's what John tries to put through this amazing course, the worth that you have. But I'll hand over to John now. There's one here, John. There is one that says, "Have you had any dealings with Billforce?" I think you're probably a similar charity. I don't think you work together.
Yeah,
we
know Billforce. I'll just clarify that they're not a charity. We're probably the only charity I think that exists that focuses on the construction industry. Billforce are a not-for-profit company, but they do something very similar. Although I think they just provide the introductions, the networking,
right,
rather than any sort of transitional support that we provide. The course, we've looked at how we deliver what we do, and we've identified the course as being the most important part of what we do. And it really is. It's like, for those that have served in the military, if you have, you'll know that when you leave, you get access to something called a career transition workshop, which is a couple of days where a resettlement type officer will talk to you about some of the skills that might be needed in Civvy Street.
Yeah.
We take that a lot further. We do what we think you actually need, rather than a one-size-fits-all approach, and we try and focus on that transition and giving you those skills that you actually need.
There's a good question here from John Kennedy. Thanks, John. What is the relationship between the charity and the armed forces for passage of information on what is available to service personnel prior to leaving? John Kennedy, DSM Limited. So that's a good one.
So we do enjoy a loose relationship with the MOD provisioner, and the reason it's quite loose is that it's a commercial contract. The resettlement provision delivered to the MOD is a commercial contract. It's just changed hands, and will be the new contract awardee will take over in October. We're looking to develop a relationship with them at the moment, but historically we haven't unfortunately enjoyed a formal pathway, and there are very few veteran charities out there that do enjoy that formal relationship with the MOD, unfortunately. There's some
John, you've got 3 minutes to answer 5 questions.
Go for it.
All right, okay. So just a quick one here from Michael Corkill. Hi guys, I'm a 22-year-old veteran, ex-Kings and RAPTC. I currently work within the construction industry and would like to contact a member of the Project Wiki regarding advertising current roles available within my company, United Living Group. Any assistance would be great. Regards, Michael. So that's a guy, Michael Corkill. Thank you, Michael, from United Living Group. Done, Michael.
Yeah, more than happy to reach out.
Brilliant. Shahid Ali, I don't know if the Recce Pathways into Construction course will be available for you. It depends where you're living. I know it's an online course, and it depends where you're living. If you're coming back to the UK, it's very UK-centric, but I'm sure John could quickly answer that one very quickly.
We are UK-centric. The offer is made to veterans from other armed forces. We did have an American Navy veteran, but he was resettling in the UK. So the provision is predominantly for the UK. All of our partnerships are within the UK. All of the companies are within the UK. So the offer is made for ex-forces living within the UK.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
And John's typed his email directly into the chat as well now. From Anthony Williams. Hi guys, I'm a 25-year-old veteran, ex-infantry, and I'm currently working as a health and safety risk and compliance in the building industry. I've mainly come on to offer any assistance advice to any service leavers, veterans, and to get into industry. I left 2.5 years ago and remember the struggle pressures. Anthony Williams, make sure you link in with me, please. Jimmy Quinn, you'll find me under Jimmy Quinn IOSH, and anybody else you can see on here as well. Thanks very much for that kind offer. I'll come looking for you as well, Anthony.
So yeah, do drop me an email, anyone that wants to support the charity, wants to reach out to us. I've popped it into the chat.
I've already answered this one. I mean, I think it's terrible that the armed forces, veterans, service leavers think that they're worth less than what they were worth when they were in the army, the navy, the marines, the air force. You are worth a lot of money. Please, I'm talking to like that guy that's on the telly, Martin Lewis. You are worth a lot of money. Please make sure you listen. Final one from Patrick Brawley. Will the guys have the CSCS cards and training cards that now some principal contractors want for site? Would foreign training be taken into consideration for like to apply for these CSCS cards? That's a dodgy one, that one is, John.
I think that's a conversation to be had with the awarding body, CITB. I doubt it, given the way they often do business. I doubt that they would recognise any qualifications not awarded in the UK. It's worth a conversation, but my gut reaction would be I don't think they would.
We've got a guy who's run out of the CSCS card. He's 63. He retires in 2 years, and he has to go through. He said, "Really, I need to go through an MVQ." I said, "Yes, you have." So that's very interesting. Some good ones. So that one was answered live. Thanks, John. And then Michael Corkill again, just putting his address in there. Michael, I'm going to take your address out, and I'm going to put it straight into the chat, so anybody looking at it can get a hold of you, mate. I'm going to put it through to everyone. And John, you smashed that out in just literally, oh no, spoke too early, 37 minutes. So you've time for another question. Andy Owens, thanks, Andy Owens. Please reach out to Defence Infrastructure Organisation, DIO, CEO Mike Green. We have many construction, security and infra vacancies which are difficult to recruit into due to current recruitment restrictions across civil service. So that was CEO Mike Green of the DIO. And Lawrence Webb, our ex-president or our president, our last president, has just joined the Defence Infrastructure Organisation, I think. Okay, I think I've got one more here for you. Done. A chap called Shane Cross. Shane, I'm a 24-year veteran, been out of the service for 5 years and now a CDM principal designer. Wow, wouldn't I like to be sitting in a room with you? Great chat about CDM. Love CDM, Shane, seriously, within the construction industry, and would like to help where possible. Shane Cross, everybody. Don't forget his name, Shane, as in SHANE, second name Cross, CROSS. So, wow, what a Q&A. Smashed it out in 40 minutes, John Davis. And we've got 115 people listening today, which is absolutely outstanding. So thank you very much for you, John, for doing what you've done. And thank you so much for what you continue to do. And I love being an ambassador for this amazing organisation. I'm now going to hand over now to Simon Donnelly. Simon, over to you. Thanks very much, John.
Cheers. Good afternoon, everybody. Simon Donnelly. I'm here to introduce Pete Lawrence and Duncan Godfrey from Frontier Risk Group. Before I hand over to Pete and Duncan, I just want to set a little bit of context. So I was working for years in health and safety. Then I picked up a role a few years ago at KPMG when I picked up some responsibilities for security as well. So I needed a credible security qualification to back this up. Specifically, we were looking at travel risk management, sending people all over the globe. I did some extensive research and stumbled upon Frontier Risk Group. And after looking into them and attending the course, I think what we found here is the industry-leading qualification in security risk management. Highly recommended, whether you're looking at it as a security specialist, whether security is part of your responsibility, or whether you just want a generic risk management qualification. This course is highly unique. The way the course is run, I just can't recommend it highly enough. Every single day is a different speaker, and they're all highly credible and experts in their field. Whether you want a level 5 qualification, level 6, level 7, or even a master's pathway, this is the course for you, and it covers the complete spectrum of risk management, in particular security risk. And another fallout and another byproduct of the course is just unique networking opportunities. So without further ado, I hand over to Pete and Duncan from Frontier Risks.
Thanks for that glowing recommendation, Simon. We're actually looking for some salespeople, so if you do fancy a change of career, that'd be quite useful. I'll just share the screen and then we'll do our introductions. An agency that does deal with space at the moment, but those that have seen us on the Armed Forces days will notice we sort of use that as a bit of a theme for our distance learning products, and it grabs attention, and that's all we've tried to do as a business. So without further ado, and sorry for the delay there, I'll introduce myself first. I'm Duncan Godfrey, who head up the operations at Frontier, and one of the directors who've been here not quite from day one. People give you the story, but yeah, about 6 months into the business, I sort of jumped in and joined. But yeah, both of us are former Royal Marines, left similar time, sort of short careers, 8 years. Did the usual operations, and like I say, I left for, I did leave for, I got medical out, but it wasn't for anything more. It's from an injury on the rugby pitch, unfortunately. And that sort of led me fall into a security career sort of about a year or so after we left. Just before I hand over to Pete, he has got a bit of a cough. Those that have been around and know, just don't be alarmed if he does have a bit of coughing feel. Keep drinking water through it. But I'll let Pete do his own introduction.
I've only had the cough for 10 years. So I probably should get it checked out now. But as Jimmy and Simon will already know, like Dunk said, a former Royal Marine, we served the same time. I'm the managing director of the company, and sort of trying to keep the ship going in the right direction, really. Just as probably a way of introduction, to get it started, to say me and Dunk's talking all the way through the presentation. We'll show you a short video of kind of what we're known for, really, and how we know both Jimmy and Simon from coming on our SRMC course, our Security Risk Management Consultancy course. It's only a couple of minutes long, and then we go into the sort of talk.
Yeah, obviously, technology isn't our big point, so yeah, bear in mind this may not work, but if it doesn't, we'll skip through.
Hopefully, it's not too glitchy.
Frontier Risk Group are a pretty small niche consultancy that works in the security risk management and training space. We deliver to multiple and various sectors across the world. There's not many countries that sort of globally we haven't operated in. In the training space, we're probably well known for the SRMC course.
The SRMC course, or the Security Risk Management Consultants course, is over 10 years old. We work from the Emergency Planning College in York, and it's a 12-day residential program for people looking to work in the security risk management industry or sectors. People that come on the course are everything from individuals leaving the emergency services, the military, the intelligence services, the police, looking for that second career in the commercial risk and security space, or with a sort of niche or individual skill sets and looking to commercialize that experience and that knowledge. I suppose the other half of the audience that are people that work in commercially and in security and risk and want the qualifications, the knowledge, the content to enhance their career.
So what makes the SRMC unique? I think our uniqueness, those that have followed us from sort of day one, sort of 8-9 years ago when we first delivered the course, our real sort of level of uniqueness and our USP is the subject matter experts that we're able to call upon. We've got a really strong network, and those that have been around alumni will see that. We bring in real sort of key experts, SME leads in their area. So as an example, if we're teaching a day on travel risk management, journey management, evacuation planning, that'll be delivered by someone who's doing that day in, day out in global operations, moving people successfully and safely around the world. Something really unique like kidnap and hostage negotiation. We have one of the lead negotiators in the UK comes in and delivers that session for our students.
Roles represented on the course are everything from head of risk, head of resilience, emergency planning, crisis response, disaster management, intelligence analysts, business continuity, resilience roles, anybody in a risk-based role.
So the way we approach the course is it's a essentially a business risk focused course initially, with a slant towards security and with an expertise or area in that.
One of the great things of where we run the course from is the Emergency Planning College. It's a great facility. There's a nice gym. There's a nice bar. We run all the courses from a giant lecture theatre. Each course sits between 25 to 45 students. There are many different qualification pathways or outcomes you can leave the course with. A few different level 5 qualifications at foundation degree level and a level 6 qualification. We also, by passing the level 5 or level 6 qualification, you can walk away with 60 credits towards different master's routes. You will also achieve the post-nominals SRMC after your name.
Every business, regardless of size, sector, needs to have risk management in its place to operate, safely, successfully, and securely. It's always going to attract a military or policing or emergency services background, and we do have a lot of students from that. But we also have people from the NGO sector, resilience managers from the NHS, search and rescue operators from the fire service, anyone with a real sort of interest in, how can they support their business operations, how can they help achieve objectives.
Yeah, so apologies for that. I realised the video was glitchy, but hopefully the audio sort of painted the picture a bit about what we do now. I'll just hand over to Pete to give you the full story of us as a business.
Yeah, guys, give you the sort of story of us and sort of where we come from. Hopefully, it's a bit of an interest. As Dunk said earlier on, we both had fairly short careers in the Marine, 7-8 years. Bit of an extended stag do, really. And all the things you do in a do pretty much our careers. Left, we both nearly got to Lance Corporal. Both come out and unfortunately we both medically discharged, and as a lot of you will know, you get a fairly short time to sort out your next career moves. And anyway, we both left, both did a few different things. I suppose we felt a bit lost, really, lost our identity, lost that sort of tribe we've come from. But we felt like we didn't fit in society when we first sort of come back. And in about 2009, sort of random sort of a phone call while I was working on a job, sort of Jason Bourne style. Got offered the opportunity to go and work on a super yacht, working off the Indian Ocean. There was a big sort of big piracy issue at the time. Big sort of piracy. Obviously, piracy had been around for a long time, but across the east coast of Africa, there was daily getting ships that were getting hijacked, and I think it was 50 ships a year at one point. And in 2009, myself and Dunks sort of both jumped on this fairly lucrative industry, really, working on different shipping vessels, providing unarmed and armed solutions for ships, passing through the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean, to achieve a sort of safe travel. And obviously, I think it was 10,000 veterans working at one point, and there was we both had a pretty good time of doing it. For those of you unfamiliar for what it was really, there's obviously a few pirates out there, but you get good,
mainly sunbathing,
mainly sunbathing, doing pull-ups and watching Sex and the City box sets. But you'd go on a vessel, sort of a 4-man team, A-team style. This is quite interesting, as in reference to sort of health and safety sort of side. You obviously dealing with the possible threat of pirates boarding your ship. You obviously had an armed solution on that ship, or possibly not at times. You'd put in lots of different defensive measures. You would take the stairs off the superstructure of the ship. Lots of the doors would be welded shut. Anything to stop the pirates actually gaining entry of the ship. Obviously, by changing these things, we were increasing the vulnerabilities in a different place. On a health and safety side, the ship was pretty vulnerable. Always used to, it didn't make me laugh, but I thought, we're fixing one thing and making something else a lot worse, really. Even one of the ships, we wasn't on at the time, but we other team members we knew actually snapped in two, which everybody survived, but obviously things still happen outside of piracy alongside that. Anyway, obviously we were away for a couple of years, away from families, and it's a lot of chat on a sort of ship, on the bridge wings of ships, and come up with the idea of a of creating a company. No sort of business background whatsoever. But as that sort of security industry in maritime oil and gas in shipping was forming, like any industry, comes a lot of training, a lot of compliance. And we set a company up called Marsec International, which at the time, a lot different to what we are now. This was in 2011, was mainly providing training solutions for all the qualifications for individuals to work on ship. Obviously, for allowing guys, veterans to work on ships and take advantage of the industry, which at this time, the salaries were anywhere between 250 to 600 pound a day, which obviously was a big increase. There's a big increase for both of us at the time. Yeah, so we sort of the company was no background in business, sort of working out as we go along, like anybody is when they start a business. Everyone makes the same sort of mistakes usually, I think, and is whether you sort of survive them. And after about 5 months into the business, in a sort of random meeting, we randomly met a guy in London, a guy called Barry Roach, who's an eight-year Marine, who was at the time the MD, the managing director of a company called PVI, which was probably the largest maritime oil and gas security sort of provider. 900 veterans employed, providing security on ships. They'd gone from in 3 years of business, they've gone from 1 million to 60 million, and we met the boss of this company in London. Not as astute in networking as perhaps we are now, but anyway, it led to a meeting. They were the Times at the time. They were the Times' third fastest UK growing company. So they were going through this massive boom or growth spurt, and we were 5 months in, and even the first year of business, we didn't even know what VAT was, and we sort of very much working it out on the job. Anyway, this meeting led to a bit of a sort of Dragon's Den moment. Barry made an offer to buy, saw something in us and made an offer to sort of buy half the company. And obviously we were high-fiving at the time, thinking we kind of made it. And then which we did the deal. Then that entity went along and bought up other companies in the full sort of risk management sort of spectrum, everything from cyber companies, technology, intelligence, physical training, health and safety, trying to give a end-to-end sort of risk management solution to companies where they could sell lots of different things to their clients. And it was an amazing journey for us. We lots of we were two average Marines on our best day, and we were sat around some amazing individuals, SBS colonels, vice admirals, operation directors of intelligence services, people from Google, and so it was an amazing learning curve. Ended up delivering individuals, corporate, government training projects. Talking about what John said earlier on, saying yes as a veteran, working out later. We had a phone call once on a Friday off an SBS colonel saying, can you put together a bronze, silver, gold commander training program for a foreign Middle Eastern police force? This was on a Friday for Monday for 600 officers over 35 days. We said yes, no problem. We can put that together. We got off the phone and was like, do you know what bronze, silver, gold commander training is? At the time we'd never heard of it. Obviously, we watched the bill for a few days and didn't pick up anything from that. But we eventually put together and got a project over the line. Anyway, 2015, that group of companies, there's 11 companies at the time, got sold to a Middle Eastern family, and we wasn't really part of that plan going forward as they become a sort of a cyber and intelligence offering. And in 2015 we purchased the company back. and quickly had to sort of rebrand, rename, and very quickly, which posed, obviously, as you can imagine, a lot of challenges. And we rebranded as Frontier Risks, and obviously 9 years later, there's a story to the name, which I'm sure Dunks will explain later. But here we are, really.
I'll do that quickly because I want to get on to obviously some other bits. But yeah, as people know us, we do like to socialise, and we think we found the importance of networking, and the old adage, your network's your net worth. And we thanked every opportunity we've ever had has been from knowing someone or being recommended, and we've done likewise. We try to help people out. So we've always done things over, a lot of time it's over a drink. And the name Frontier was literally we were sat in a bar in Bristol and thinking of a name, and we had a few ideas, and someone came over with 3 pints of Frontier beer, and that was it. There was a Frontier beer, and Frontier Risk sort of grew from that. But yeah, no, we've it's been an incredible journey. Some you got involved in some awesome projects, and probably delved between safety and security on different occasions, and where we sort of lead. But just to sort of lead on, sorry, jumping on, skipped a slide down, I think. So we skipped one of our slides for some reason. Go back. About what we do as a company, I suppose. Is before we get onto this element, is what we do as a business. So we work across sort of probably 3 main areas really: training, consultancy, and we have our alumni. The training side, which Peter's spoken about, that covers anything from our security risk management course to hostile environment training, medical training, and to name a few. Our consultancy side, we consult in the training space predominantly, but we also have embedded consultants working, which again, we've always employed veterans. We have probably 1 or 2 civilians on the team, but nearly everyone else has been a veteran. And we don't profess to be safety or security experts by any means. We have a good understanding of security and risk, that's for sure, and business. But we surround ourselves by expertise, and if we need experts within cyber, or we need experts within physical security, bring those in, and we get that from the veteran community because it's full of them. That's where we get a lot of our support from. So that's sort of where we are as a business. Safety, security, consultancy space. That's our big area of expertise. Just for some reason, it's jumped a couple of slides. I don't know if it's something the way it's been saved on here just quickly when we had our little issue earlier. But just wanted to draw your attention to a few of the areas really, because the safety and security are massively interconnected, and those that work in safety will be familiar. We do a lot around the ISO 31000 model, which is obviously it's not a certifiable ISO, but it's a principles and guidelines document, and we run our security and risk management sort of consultancy and our courses in and around that. And particularly because it draws attention to other areas in security around threat and vulnerability that maybe isn't spoken about as much when in the protection of assets. And I don't want it to be obviously a teach session, but that's not what it's all about. We want to talk about some of the case studies and the areas that people operate in. Obviously, Simon working at KPMG in a safety role, then got security, and why that's quite important. He did mention travel risk, so I'll come on to the legal compliance bit. Duty of care, both moral and legal obligations. That's a big reason why travel risk management and journey management becomes such a big thing in that sector, that you're looking after your people. But actually, the assets can be, it could be your property, your information, processes. There's vast areas to where safety and security are massively interconnected. And the old adage is, if you have a weakness in one, it creates more problems in the other. So they need to be interconnected. Just because I know we're blitzing through the time. Jim asked us to talk about some case studies really, and without naming names, so you're going to name some clients here, but just want to give you a bit of an idea of the sort of roles that people that maybe have come from predominantly safety roles first have stepped into, and some of the organisations that it certainly crosses both. A big one not mentioned there is we work a lot in the NGO space now, and we're finding a lot of the NGOs not for any reason other than they probably don't necessarily like the term security. Sometimes it's usually like safety officers or safety advisors that have a sort of breadth of roles that go into security as well. So we have embedded consultants in that they're on annual contracts, rolling contracts that get well remunerated in pay wise and job wise, that they're working predominantly from home with some overseas travel now and again, but they're managing the safety and security of big global organisations. in, one in particular, about 37 countries around the world, looking after everything from the physical security on some of the buildings they're operating, their mobile teams when they're traveling. We're actually just doing a bit of pre-planning and upskilling and empowering their workforce by delivering training. And then, just to pick out a few. So BA Systems, I don't know if anyone from the audience works for them or knows them, as obviously the defence prime. Their safety team, again, it was mainly around the travel risk side, sort of came to us, and we started delivering that sessions at board level on that, and training up and upskilling their safety team. And that's, just because suddenly the security fell under safety, I don't know if it does for some of the organisations some of you guys and girls are working with, but that was a big one for them, that actually, we now need to look at perimeter security. We now need to, actually, it's not simple as just looking at perimeter security. We need to understand the threat. We need to understand the environment where, the local criminality rates, like what assets we're protecting. Is it just the people, actually access control, and start looking a bit wider into that. I don't know if you want to jump in on any of them.
I suppose slightly off from what Dunk said. With any sort of security consulting job or consulting task we're doing, any of the contracts that either we're delivering or come across, whether it will be worded as a security consulting contract, where within that there'll obviously be safety considerations where we're expected to crack. We can't bring in another cost. That individual has to have sufficient knowledge in our area, because, as Dunk said earlier on, they're so interlinked. And as the world keeps moving on, and where everyone wants more and more for less, it's something that probably our biggest client we deal with. We didn't who we consult to. We didn't win the contract with any sort of health and safety input going into that contract, but I suppose a large portion of it is us dealing with health and safety issues, and it's just the point I was making really is that it's, I suppose, the people who are really advancing are the ones, like as Simon said earlier on, having a broader understanding of how these two areas are interlinked, and maybe not just focusing on one area. And it's why we've had individuals from security teams or health and safety teams from some of the organisations in this slide come on our courses.
Yeah, and that's the reason we have a big focus. Although we've got, tightening a lot of what we do is security risk management. It's actually, it's business risk first and foremost. Understand the business, the processes, who operates in them, where they're operating, the environments. That's why it's so important, to understand the business risk first, because safety sits in that. Business risk management, safety and security are part of that. So actually think about it in that way. Actually, if I understand risk in some different areas, it's going to give me another string to my bow in the safety space. And hence why, a lot of these organisations, so BBC would be their high risk team, which are their safety advisors, whether it's a bit of backwash for journalists, or planning their movements 1 minute, next minute they're at a protest site, or are they actually securing a building or facility they're filming from, or they're out doing expeditions. There's some really interesting roles out there that predominantly they look for ex-service people and veterans. Another example, European Bank, one of our big clients, that whole team, their whole security and safety team is made up of veterans. Every single person in that team is from a veteran community, and they have different roles. Some are definitely more safety based, some are more on the ground security, but a lot of it is pre-planning. So it's not about being operational and getting out on the ground always. A lot of it is actually doing the planning, writing the processes, putting in frameworks, all the things you'd be used to in safety roles. And then a few of those other companies, obviously Secret Compass is one we work with a lot. Again, another veteran-owned company that does some really interesting projects, mainly around TV and media, some quite extreme programs, and whether it's remote environments or quite hostile. They did like the Narcos programs in South America. They've done did big National Geographic programs. So they get involved in some really good stuff. But there's a lot of safety, probably around media safety and rope and high access type of safety. So not safety construction, but in and around that. Iron Gold, obviously working with them probably in quite hostile environments, but that was a safety team that had a security problem. So that's why they come to, look for consultants in our space that would then not have to necessarily go out on the ground, but actually help them go, right, actually, this is what you need to, secure perimeter, your movement of people in and around from, Ouagadougou up to where they were in the north in Burkina Faso, which was quite punchy. How are we going to get them there safely and securely? How are we going to track them? And there's loads of elements to that. I don't know if you want to talk about Sony, it's quite interesting.
I suppose one of the things, slightly off, one of the things when somebody inquires about any of our courses, something I usually say to people on the phone is, the title of our course is Security Risk Management Consultancy, but underneath it, really, it's a business course, and the modern day risk manager, in whatever role that person is within an organization, needs to understand all the threats, risk, and vulnerability to an organization, to that business, not just the security ones. There's an assumption, like there's already, if you're in that, if you come from some sort of security or military background, there's an assumption you know that anyway. Same, I suppose, if you come from if you're an ex-fireman and you're into a safety role, there's an assumption you understand safety straight away. But the people that really excel, and we think are the ones that are trying or understand all the threats, risks, and vulnerability to a business. And but another one which we always kind of end up talking about on a webinar, we've had this sort of 2,000 people have come through our course over the years, but and we're just about hitting course number 60 now, where Simon and Jimmy are the sort of perfect examples of this. We know we've just been big networkers and sort of try to give back as much as we can to our community. And the way we look at networking is, you're trying to give more than you ever want to receive, sort of thing, and sort of constantly trying to help people, and what goes around comes around. And even if you're sort of smashing it in, you're smashing your role at the moment, things are going well, you've got to equally be as hungry or continuing networking while you're in them times, because obviously things change. But I'd say that's one of the big things that have got us to this point.
Yeah, just expand on that point and just like to finish up with talk about the alumni before we say about how to get in touch. Is that the alumni has worked really well for us. We are obviously business, and we do have to make money to survive. But the alumni has always been not for profit. Everything goes back into it. We do run various networking events, but it's a constant. We're doing introductions on a daily basis. There's not many sort of sectors or organizations that we don't have an avenue into, and a lot of that is former students that are working there. When they're trying to backfill a role, they'll come to us saying, "Oh, can we recruit? Can you put this out to your database, or can you put this out to alumni? Or we're looking for, particular, we need a French speaker for this type of role. We need someone with more of a safety background for this type of role." And that's how it's worked. And because we've never monetized that, companies are more inclined to come to us first before they advertise on LinkedIn or before they advertise externally anywhere. So that's something, it's well worth being part. Whether you're always going to stay in safety, you're not really interested in security, but you want to be part of the alumni. That alumni is there for everyone. It's generally very cheap to attend the events, and because it's free drink, usually that's just the way we operate. But it's well worth try and get involved in alumni, because there may be an opportunity there at some point for a job role. You might meet someone on that night, or you get an introduction, and it's happened time and time again. A classic case study. One of the guys came to an event, and we had someone from it was ASIS was at the event, and they just happened to be the head of security for this organization they're about to interview with, and they didn't know who the person was. I went, on that night, I was like, look, this might be a bit out of turn, but I said, this guy's here, he's having a drink at the bar, let me go and introduce you. You've got a heads up 2 days before your interview with that, he'll be on that panel. And again, that just set him in good stead, and he ended up getting a role just from having that, that couple of conversations over a beer, quite relaxed, helped him relax before he had his interview a few days later, and got an awesome role. So if you can, that's all about. We do like giving back, and I think those that have seen us and how we operate, we are quite relaxed. We are different from the norm, definitely in the security and risk space. We do things a little bit differently, do things our way, and we're unapologetic in that. But we do it professionally. I understand travel risk quite well, but there's certain areas I'm not an expert in. Same with Pete. We run the business. We bring in the expertise, the people that really know what they're doing, who are doing it day in, day out in their business. That's what better way to be instructed by someone who's doing it that's their job. And likewise, when we get the job roles come in that we, out of our skill set, we bring that skill set in, and that's who we are. If you did, sorry, I'm just flagged up on the time. If you do want to get in touch, I don't think our PowerPoint has decided to die on us anyway. But yeah, we'll put our details out there, and do get in touch. And we're always happy to answer questions and reach out and build a network.
Simon's already put a lot of your details out already, Dunks.
Oh, great! Thank you.
A big thanks to Jimmy and Simon for inviting us on today. And it's strange how Jimmy always seems to make it when there's a free bar on the alumni nights. The ones he has to pay for, you don't seem to see him on.
I know. Yeah, I know, mate. I can't believe there's not so many questions, but I think Simon's got a few questions for you to enlighten some people that are not perhaps as aligned to your work and know so much about your work, Duncan and Pete. So I think Simon's got a few questions for you guys.
Yeah, no, firstly, I just want to emphasize one point. Well, 2 points actually. Firstly, I'm not on commission, thanks. So yeah. Secondly, yeah, I mean, I went on the course predominantly to pick up a credible security qualification, but I think my biggest takeaway was that aspect of business risk, which I didn't really appreciate before going on the course. And when you start looking at reputation to your organisation and impact, I said that's what sort of sideswiped me really, and that was probably one of my biggest takeaways. First question for you guys though. I know that the SMRC course is 12 days long. It's residential, which is a big ask for people that are already working in business. Can you just explain how you can modulise and break that down and make it a little bit more accessible to people that are working full time?
Yeah, there's obviously multiple different ways of doing it. You can break the course into a week 1 or week 2, and there's also you can do it through a distance learning version. And as you said earlier on, there's level 5, there's level 6, there's a level 7 come on board, different masters pathways. But we're because the nature of service leavers and veterans, we're pretty we got people dropping off courses 24 hours before. We've always been completely flexible and just trying to get the right qualification for so the level 5 is vocationally focused around the job individuals are doing a lot of time at foundation degree level, and the level 6 is much more of an academic qualification, takes a lot longer, but that's a great fit for some people preparing for a master's, and with level 5 is something more suited to different roles. And we won for us is about getting the right people in the right fit and just trying to support people on our journey really,
and getting them through yourself. So it's not without its challenges. It's challenging qualification pathway to get through, and you have to put the effort in the work and the reading and sort of post courses, almost a bit further learning to do online. But we obviously have the online option for those that want to do it fully online as well, which I think we've tried to approach that in a quite a different way, and there's a lot of levels of support there. And just to mention, especially we've got obviously veteran audience, that we obviously are ELC registered for those that have got those credits, and I know obviously a lot of employers do end up paying for people to come on the course, but those that are ELC recognised, we obviously got to use that from the course.
I think probably the one thing we're conscious we want to do better. I think we do a pretty good job of it anyway, but we want to continue to keep doing better. Is there's just shy of 2,000 people have gone through the course, and there's not many big brands you could probably come up with. TikTok, Tesla, Airbnb, Nike, BBC, CNN that haven't gone through our course or at some point, and 95% of people we can name, obviously there's 10 years of us doing it now, and name them and where they're working now, but I'm trying to, so obviously that's a big number of people, just trying to keep that network alive and how we communicate. There's so many, we get that many jobs that come back to us internally to push out to that network. We almost can't cope with it really. It's almost becoming a full-time job for someone just pushing back into that network, and we're conscious we could do that better, and which we want to obviously do.
Yeah, the alumni is what we're most proud of actually, and that's if we leave any legacy when we if we ever move on from this and do something else, it's that we've got most pride in, seeing people the roles they're going into, and yeah, that's the biggest source of pride. Someone that comes along going, look, I'm just leaving the military, I'm a bit lost. Actually, this has opened my eyes up to, didn't realise it was such a breadth of different jobs within security or safety. Can I go down? Oh, I've gone down that route now, and I've now heading up that trouble risk element at Apple. You've got someone there who's just set up a path and saw that. So there's some great examples out there.
It's great what you just said. Maybe you were just being nice, Simon, but having somebody with like for the company, for the brand you're working for, and the role you've been doing for such a long time, to actually come away and see it a little bit differently on the sort of business side of risk, and and everyone there's different parts of the course resonate with different people, and it can't be all things to all men, but 80% of the course works for everyone, but there's parts of it that might not be perfect to everyone's role. But just having people like yourself and who've been working for 20-30 years in the industry going, oh, that's probably a different way of doing it, or we're just it's a bit Joe Rogan style as well. We're just trying to make people think differently, I think. And hopefully you took that away from the course.
You kind of hijacked my second question, but it was exploring the difference between the extra work between the level 5 qualification and the level 6. I know Jimmy did the level 5, so it was more pertinent to his role. I did the level 6, more pertinent to my role. Can you just explain the difference in sort of expected length after finishing the course to achieve either of those qualifications, please, guys?
Well,
you've got literally 2 minutes, boys. 2 minutes.
I thought it was interesting, Simon, when you phoned me, when you went, what qualification is Jimmy doing? And I went 5, and you went, okay, I'll do 6. The 5 is, very much writing up a security report, country risk assessment, dissertation standard, can take anywhere between 3 weeks to 3 months. Quite subjective, really interesting piece of work. Will make you think in a different way.
You can tailor that to your job role as well. So if you work in a particular region or country, you can tailor it to that, and that's what's pertinent. I know Jimmy did that. That's the the flexibility we got with the awarding body, and that's we've been running it so long. You can tailor it to. You could, if you're working in construction, you could tailor it to construction and make it really specific to that's where the 5 fits well. The 6 is more, because they're both regulated qualifications or off-qual, but they, the 6 is quite rigid in terms of what you had to produce, and I'm sure someone could tell you more on that. But yeah, that is because of the level it's at. You have to, you reference correctly, and it's almost like essay writing, but it's still based on a consultancy task. You're working through a consultancy task over a long period, so 8-week blocks for each unit. You do 3 units.
Yeah, it takes 24 weeks. It's you with both of them, you're picking up a shovel in a different way, and you will leave in a better place than where you started. And the quality of work what people hand back to us, on the commercial market, some people's level 5 reports valued anywhere between 1,000 and 20,000. Really, the quality of we sold one once, so we know how much it's worth. But that wasn't yours, Jimmy. Don't worry.
All right, guys. No, thanks very much for that, and thanks for the input.
But it wasn't.
I'll hand back over to Jimmy to wrap up.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Simon. Boys, I don't know if John's still here. I think John may have disappeared. I can't see him. He may have had to go to another meeting. Yeah, he's still there. We've nearly had 110 people. That is, we don't get those numbers for these webinars. We had about 300 people registered. People always cry off. People are always, it's an IOSH course. There's lots of health and safety people, but this webinar had to be about veterans and the different skills, that halfway there concept that veterans have of having all those leadership skills, having those hazard and awareness of skills to become health and safety managers, project managers, work in the risk management sector, be the head of safety for the UK for KPMG, and understand how to get people out of Israel, how to get people out of Ukraine, to have that network. So boys, this network has gone 100-fold. So thank you so much. It'll be on YouTube as well. We'll make sure it goes on YouTube. We'll make sure you get a link when it goes on YouTube. You'll be happy to use it for your own selves as well. So I can only thank you. Thank you so much for the amount of time you've given us today, and given the hundreds of veterans, 110 veterans attended today. That's amazing from across the world. Thank you so much, boys. When you do leave, Pete, Duncan, John, the rest of us will stay on. If it all goes Pete, Tom, Mia will come back on again. Me and Simon will join you straight away if we all leave at the same time. Yes, Duncan, sorry, you're going to say something, mate.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure what happened with the tech issue. It actually jumped, some slides disappeared as well.
No problems, mate.
We don't run any tech.
We don't do the tech stuff, but yeah, I'll take it here today.
Thanks again, boys. I can't wait to get up to London to see you soon.
Yeah.
See you later, John Davies. Take care, all.
I'll see you all.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye bye.